My girlfriend starred in a movie that doesn't exist. You're such a fool, Jason. Grow up. Pulling her hair into a tight bun, my girlfriend pushed my hands away from her breasts. Her tone was dry as usual. It was why I loved her. If I'm such a fool, what does that make you? I winked playfully, nudging her shoulder. A fool fucker, she responded without missing a beat, causing us to burst into uncontrollable laughter. Jumping from the bed, I walked towards our living room, scratching myself. Grabbing for the remote, I turned on the television, flipping to the local news. Local actress Mariah Sanders has snagged the role of a lifetime, having been cast as the leading lady in Martin Scorsese's newly announced film. A grinning headshot of my girlfriend peered back at me from the TV. I stood there speechless, wondering what the hell was going on. My girlfriend was many things, but an actress was not one of them. We'd been dating on and off for almost 4 years, and I knew her anxiety would never allow her to perform in front of the camera. She was a delicate flower, and I did my best to protect her. Mariah, I need you to come here for a second. We stood together in the living room, rewinding the news story over and over again. A quick Google search confirmed it wasn't an isolated thing. It was everywhere. Her face was plastered on TMZ, People, and every other gossip rag you can imagine. This has to be a mistake. I don't know how, but this has to be a mistake. Mariah was trembling, clearly overwhelmed with the moment. Her phone had been ringing off the hook, but she hadn't even glanced at it. This is so fucking weird. I don't understand what's happening. Soon everyone is going to find out I'm a fraud. Oh, God. Choking back tears, she ran into the bedroom and shut the door behind her. I stood there, scrolling through endless articles and mentions on social media. As the day wore on, things got even stranger. A Wikipedia page appeared, and soon it was filled with dozens of previous TV and movie appearances. Hundreds of photos from commercials, adverts, and photo shoots began to pop up not soon after. It happened at a dizzying pace, her catalog growing with every minute that passed. I could hear Mariah's sobs from the bedroom. I could only imagine what she was going through. It was like her life was getting rewritten by an unseen auteur and she was powerless to stop it. Her history was being stripped of her and we had no way of explaining it. Jason, you need to see this. Her voice quivered, barely loud enough for me to hear. Huddling around her phone screen, I watched as the news ticker flashed with a breaking headline. Deranged. Chicago man kidnaps actress Mariah Sanders. Now there were 2 famous people in our household. Reading through a CNN article, I discovered that I was being accused of kidnapping my own girlfriend from her non-existent downtown apartment. A neighbor that was interviewed described a brazen and violent daylight kidnapping, and ended by saying Mariah was the sweetest person she knew. It was terrifying. Please tell me this is the world's most elaborate prank, so I can hate you for a week, then get over it. Eyes filled with fear, Mariah looked at me with her beautiful pouty lips. I wanted nothing more than to lie to her, to tell her everything was going to be okay, but all I managed to do was give a sullen shake of my head. So this is all real? Before I could respond, the door flew from its hinges, wood splintering everywhere. A team of SWAT officers poured in, covered in Kevlar. Grabbing Mariah by the shoulder, I pulled her into the bedroom and shut the door behind us. Somberly, I looked squarely at my love and said, "You need to yell that I have a gun and I'm going to shoot you if they come in here. Until we can figure out what's happening, I need to escape. And to do that, I need time." Begrudgingly, Mariah told the police what I asked her. As I expected, they couldn't risk storming the room, so they'd stall until a negotiator arrived. "Babe, this is all so confusing. But hey, you're famous now, so that's something." We both chuckled in between cries. "I will find you and we will figure this out, I promise. Love you forever and always." With that, I slipped through the window and disappeared into the night. Starting over was the hardest thing I ever had to do. But 5 years later, I've managed to eke out an existence. During that time, the only thing that kept me going was Mariah. I watched her career explode from afar. She became a bigger and bigger starlet, climbing to the highest echelons of Hollywood. It was painful, but I was so proud of her accomplishments despite everything that had transpired. That was until an interview she gave 3 days ago. Dressed in a graceful white dress, she sat on a couch and spewed lies to a late-night host. Your bravery and quick thinking in the face of such danger is truly incredible. You're amazing, Mariah, simply amazing. America wants to know, how did you do it? Well, Jimmy, I simply fed into his delusions. I did what I know best. I acted. He believed I was his girlfriend, and I knew if I played the part well enough, I could eventually help direct his actions. When he jumped out of that window, I broke down. I couldn't believe it was finally over. The words grated against my heart, leaving a permanent scar. Deep sadness was replaced by an immense rage. She'd never spoken about that night before, and I believed that was to protect me. But she was so clearly deluded by her newfound fame, she'd do anything to curry favor with the masses. As I sit here in a barely running '94 Chevy, I watch her living her new life. New man, new dog, new house. Well, history has a habit of repeating itself, no matter how hard you try and erase it. As I drove through the dimly lit streets, memories of our time together flooded my mind. The laughter, the shared dreams, and the quiet moments that defined our relationship. I couldn't help but wonder if any of it had been real. Had she ever truly loved me, or was it all an elaborate performance? The city lights blurred past as I contemplated my next move. I needed answers, and I was determined to get them. Mariah's betrayal cut deep, but beneath the anger, there was a lingering hope that perhaps she was still the woman I once knew. I parked the Chevy a block away from her new house, watching from a distance as she embraced her new life. The man she was with seemed kind, and the dog wagged its tail happily by their side. It was a picture-perfect scene, one that felt worlds apart from the chaos that had engulfed my life. As I sat there, a plan began to form in my mind. I would confront Mariah, not with anger, but with the hope of understanding. Perhaps there was a way to untangle the web of lies and find the truth that lay beneath. It was a long shot, but it was all I had left. With a deep breath, I stepped out of the car and made my way towards her house. The night was silent, save for the distant hum of traffic. As I approached the front door, I hesitated for a moment, my heart pounding in my chest. I knocked gently, and after what felt like an eternity, the door creaked open. Mariah stood there, her eyes widening in shock as she recognized me. For a moment, neither of us spoke, the weight of our shared history hanging heavy in the air. "Jason," she finally whispered, her voice a mix of surprise and something else I couldn't quite place. "Mariah," I replied, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "We need to talk." As she stepped aside to let me in, I knew that whatever happened next would change everything. But for the first time in a long time, I felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps, just perhaps, we could find a way to rewrite our story. When Jason and Mariah finally confront each other, the atmosphere is tense, filled with a mix of unresolved emotions and unanswered questions. Jason, driven by a need for clarity, approaches the conversation with a mix of determination and vulnerability. He wants to understand how their lives spiraled into such chaos and whether any part of their relationship was genuine. Mariah, on the other hand, is caught off guard by Jason's sudden appearance. She is initially defensive, her mind racing to protect the new life she has built. However, as they begin to talk, the facade she has maintained starts to crack. Jason's sincerity and the shared history they have compel her to open up. The conversation is a roller coaster of emotions. Jason expresses his hurt and confusion over the public narrative that painted him as a villain. He shares how he has watched her rise to fame from afar, feeling both proud and betrayed. Mariah listens, her defenses slowly lowering as she realizes the impact of her actions. Mariah confesses that the whirlwind of fame and the pressure to maintain her new identity led her to make choices she now regrets. She admits that the story she told on the talk show was a fabrication, a way to distance herself from the past and solidify her status in the public eye. She reveals that she still struggles with the guilt of how things ended and the lies she perpetuated. As they talk, both Jason and Mariah begin to see each other not as adversaries, but as two people caught in an extraordinary situation. They acknowledge the love they once shared and the ways in which they hurt each other. The confrontation becomes a moment of catharsis, allowing both to release the burdens they've carried. Ultimately, the confrontation leads to a tentative reconciliation. While they both know that things can never return to the way they were, they agree to move forward with honesty and understanding. Jason decides to leave the past behind and focus on building a new life, while Mariah resolves to be more truthful in her public persona and personal relationships. In the end, the confrontation serves as a turning point, allowing both Jason and Mariah to find closure and peace. They part ways with a sense of mutual respect and a newfound clarity about who they are and what they want from life. 5 years had passed since the tumultuous events that had upended Jason and Mariah's lives. Jason had settled into a quiet existence in a small coastal town, far removed from the chaos of the city. He had found solace in the simplicity of his new life, working as a carpenter and spending his evenings watching the sun dip below the horizon. The ocean's rhythmic waves were a constant reminder of the ebb and flow of life, and he had learned to find peace in their steady cadence. Mariah, on the other hand, had continued her ascent in the world of Hollywood. Her career had flourished, and she had become a household name. Yet, despite her success, there was a lingering sense of incompleteness. The fame and fortune she had once craved now felt hollow, and the facade she had built was beginning to crumble under the weight of her own conscience. One evening, as Jason was closing up his workshop, he received an unexpected visitor. A sleek, black car pulled up, and out stepped a woman he hadn't seen in years. It was Mariah, her presence as striking as ever, though her eyes carried a depth of emotion that hadn't been there before. "Jason," she began, her voice a mixture of apprehension and hope. "I know this is unexpected, but I needed to see you. There's something I need to tell you." Jason, taken aback by her sudden appearance, gestured for her to sit on the porch. The air was thick with unspoken words as they settled into the wooden chairs, the sound of the ocean providing a soothing backdrop. "I've been thinking a lot about what happened between us," Mariah confessed, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "About the lies, the fame, and everything that came with it. I thought it was what I wanted, but I was wrong." Jason listened intently, his heart a mix of emotions. He had spent years trying to move on, yet seeing Mariah again stirred feelings he thought he had buried. "I came here because I want to make things right," Mariah continued, her voice tinged with sincerity. "I want to tell the truth, to set the record straight, not just for you, but for myself too." Jason nodded slowly, understanding the weight of her words. "It's not easy to face the past, but I'm glad you're here," he replied, his voice steady. "What do you need from me?" Mariah took a deep breath, her resolve firm. "I need your help to tell our story, the real story. I want to write a book to share what really happened, but I can't do it without you." The proposition was unexpected, yet Jason felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps this was the closure they both needed, a chance to reclaim their narrative and find peace. Over the following weeks, Jason and Mariah worked together, revisiting the events that had shaped their lives. They spent long hours recounting memories, sifting through the truth and lies, and finding moments of laughter amidst the pain. The process was cathartic, allowing them to heal old wounds and rediscover the connection they once shared. As they delved deeper into their story, they uncovered new layers of understanding. Mariah revealed the pressures she faced in the industry, the relentless demands of fame, and the loneliness that accompanied it. Jason, in turn, shared his journey of self-discovery, the solace he found in simplicity, and the strength he gained from starting anew. Their collaboration culminated in a memoir that captured the essence of their experiences. It was a raw and honest account, a testament to resilience and redemption. When the book was finally published, it resonated with readers worldwide, sparking conversations about the nature of fame, identity, and the power of truth. The success of the memoir brought Jason and Mariah back into the public eye, but this time they were prepared. They faced the media with newfound confidence, united in their commitment to authenticity. Their story inspired others to embrace their own truths, to find courage in vulnerability, and to seek forgiveness and understanding. In the end, Jason and Mariah found themselves at a crossroads once more. The journey they had embarked on had brought them closer, but they knew their paths were destined to diverge. Mariah returned to Hollywood, determined to use her platform for positive change, while Jason remained in his coastal haven, content in the life he had built. Though their lives took different directions, the bond they shared endured. They remained in touch, supporting each other from afar, grateful for the second chance they had been given. And as they continued to navigate the complexities of life, they carried with them the lessons learned from their shared past, a reminder that even in the shadows of stardom, the light of truth could shine through. Thank you for watching. Write comments, put likes. Do not forget to watch other videos.